So I'm gonna miss the. At least I'm gonna miss the start of China Team Championship. I might show up for like the next little bit of it, for like the second series or so, just kind of depending on how time is going. Um, so yeah, I'll probably turn up for like the second series or so. If I'm not, I will be casting StarCraft Sundays. There is StarCraft coming tomorrow. It's just a little bit iffy as to whether I'm going to be there or not. So, I mean, I'm definitely here for StarCraft Sundays. It's just the China Team Championship that's a little bit of a question mark right now. So, just apologies in advance for that. We will, of course, grab the replays and look to do them at another time as we kick this off. In the top right-hand side, representing Kaizi Gaming, our Red Terran player is INnoVation. And you know, we're all excited to see INnoVation games, and he opens with the Proxy Racks. Here's hoping Impact finds a way to hold this off without taking too much damage and puts himself in a position where he can turn this into a bit more of a macro game. Because that's what I think we'd all love to see out here. I tell you what, this first Overlord is heading right up towards scouting this. It is going to take a turn, but not too late. And Impact will see this early on, and he will start to send drones to try and shut that down. Cancels his gas, so he has more minerals to be able to defend with Queens and Lings. Of course, Impact, our blue Zerg player on the bottom left-hand side, representing Team LP. Runners-up of Season 1, but in trouble here in Season 2. 0-2, and 0-2 when you only play 5 matches is a really, really tough position to be in, while Kaizi Gaming are 2-0. This drone pull hasn't worked at all either. It's just a bit too far away, and it's taken a bit too long for the drones to get here. Now, they are still going to try and find the Marines as they spawn. This Marine's just going to run forwards. The SCV did not get a bunker going on. I mean, this is really far away. You know, he's kind of proxied outside of the third base almost, rather than outside of the natural. So, it is quite a distance. These drones, I mean, yeah, okay, they're dealing some damage to the Marines, but it's also a lot of lost mining time, right? But it does stop bunkers coming up, etc. The next SCV goes down. This is now drones being lost, though. So more than just lost mining time, it's mining time that will never get back on the board. So you see those two drones backing away down the bottom. Overlord will get up to a high ground spot here, so we'll stay safe. That's something you can kill later. And this has been the pretty typical transition from a 2 racks lately, going into 2 Reapers. Because the Zergs have been cancelling their gas and not going into speed, it's becoming more and more of a common response against the 2 racks, but then the Reapers come in and they can be very frustrating. So Marine's actually going to be backing off, and again the Reaper count will start to build up here from INnoVation. He looks like he'll go into at least 4 Reapers rather than just the first couple, so really is going to commit to a few of these, and this is something that Impact doesn't confirm just yet. This Overlord was over here. It's now pulling back, perhaps afraid of the potential of more, as this one's circling. This is a really important scout, because he wants to know whether this is still building or not. Whether he will think that this is Reapers or not is still kind of remaining to be seen. I think 4 Reapers is enough, though. We'll lift up this barracks, and we'll just start to send it home. Obviously, the more Reapers you build, the less time your barracks are at home and setting up in towards the next stage of this game, as you see the command center building up in part of the wall. So I want to get INnoVation safe, man. Impact was so prepared for this as well. Units in position to immediately shut down those Reapers from jumping up to that high ground. Excuse me, sorry, my throat's just warming up a little bit today still, apparently, as we do see some Zerglings already getting picked off there. 4 Reapers pretty good at that, and again, he's just going to look to kind of control the map at the front. Obviously, the big thing as well, it's tough to get a third base up when these Reapers are being so good, you know, aggressively, and kind of keeping the Zerg pinned in, although this would be the perfect opportunity right now when these Reapers hop up here, although this is pretty nice, actually. He gets the creep tomb, he gets a few Zerglings. I mean, there's no Queen in this main base. These Zerglings are going to keep dropping down. There comes the Queen now to start to flex, and the Reapers do have to get out if they want to stay alive. That barracks didn't land in time to stop the hatchery, so the third hatch will start up. And that's obviously a big win as the Reapers come back around the front. They would love to try and find themselves a couple of creep tumor denials. Yes, that's going to be another really good grenade. Oh, the Queen only just got to the left-hand side of that. If that Queen got bopped to the right, it would have been off creep. Obviously, the transfuse came in anyways, but really good grenade placement from INnoVation. Really well played so far. Again, a few too many Zerglings there. Didn't have the grenades ready, so he just backs away. Love all of this pressure that INnoVation is piling on, though, as we do see Hellion production starting up from INnoVation in the main, medevac on the way out. And we're going to be seeing this command center starting up in the main base as well. Another barracks here coming down over to the side. There's a tech lab on the racks as well. I'm just going to be seeing a few more SCVs popping out as we do see the Rotron finish from Impact now. The Roaches will just be a bit of a sturdier defense against these initial Reapers. How aggressive does Impact want to go with this? Like, does he want to move across the map and really pile on the pressure here? what is going to be the goal as my man Maynard comes in with the 33-month resub? Thank you so much, dude. Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope life is treating you good. Do you see this Rex just continuing on home? The Reaper's going to be able to grab another Zergling, so another lane going down. I'm just going to be seeing a Hellion picking up. I mean, this is absolutely turned into aggression here from Impact, and this is where INnoVation sees it as well. The Reapers get to see the Roaches coming. They are just going to go running. I'm surprised they didn't start trying to kite against the Zerglings, but I think he knows more Zerglings are coming. He just wants to get away. 2 bunkers start. Gets back to these Hellions here. The Reaper's still taking damage. Loses 2 of them. Hey, Reapers actually really loses all the Reapers. Reapers are really nice to keep alive in this scenario because if you can keep the Reapers alive, they can grenade and that can do a lot to help you defend. 56 army supply at the moment against what? 23, and some of it is Hellions and a medevac across the map, which does nothing other than cleaning up Zerglings. So that drop from INnoVation does nothing at all. This one Marauder really wants to get in this bunker right now. SCVs will repair bunker number 1, and well, that's going to be the start of a defense here. Another SCV popping out. Corrosive Files will drop. SCVs have the repair. The repair is good still. And the repair is so important here. Without this repair, this game really does end. The bunker on the other side might go down, though. A siege tank pops out, will not have a chance to siege. It's the Zerglings that are going to start flooding through that are really going to become more of an issue here. INnoVation does not have a wall off because he moved this orbital command down to the low ground, obviously. While Zerglings especially really are going to be the problem. There are no Hellions on the map at the moment. Losing those early on in that fight was a big issue as 14 SCVs down. Now that's 17. More Zerglings still streaming across. Now, obviously, units are not in the bunkers either. And so Impact is, well, really starting to do enough here as the Ravagers will continue to pick off SCVs. At INnoVation, he'll just not clean this up, will he? Because now the Lings are going to stream in onto production lines. He's going to drop some mules down in the natural expansion. But the problem is with INnoVation, he doesn't even have the attack upgrade on the way. He only has the armor. And the Roachling attack from Impact is very... Actually, I guess for Kaiser Gaming, maybe it is a bit more important than I'm making it out to be for this series, because they do have some tougher teams coming up. But I mean, they're already in a great spot, and even if they just take down one of those tougher teams, playoffs is absolutely still reachable for them. So like I said, it's not like the most, like, it's not like a do or die series, but it's a pick up this series and your life is that much easier, obviously. Top 2 teams go to the playoffs, while the 3rd team will play in the... They don't go to the playoffs, they'll what does the other team do, guys? The other team, you guys know what they do? God damn it, I can't think. The other team will, instead of going to the playoffs, the 3rd team plays against the other 3rd place team in the other group, and they kind of do a playoff, and then 5 teams go to the playoffs for the playoff format, which is like a... I don't actually know what the playoff format is, but whatever. I think actually when you get to the playoffs, you get reseeded based on some other matches, and it's crazy. I'm not really too sure about the playoff format right now. It's one of those things that's a little bit in the dark. It did change from Season 1 especially, is why it's obviously pretty tough to tell. No proxy action here on Thunderbird. It is INnoVation's map pick, so his choice to go onto this larger map here definitely could just be looking to say, hey, you know what? You know, let me play a longer game and... You know, I'm going to be good. Like, you know, I'm INnoVation, your Impact. You know, I should win this if this goes a little bit longer. So that seems to be what INnoVation is maybe setting up for right now. CG coming down to the bottom side. So running away down to the bottom right. 3rd hatchery and the natural on the way up. Spawning pool will finish up here. From Impact, from Impact as well. So yeah, just a little bit of setup here in the early stages, getting this ready to go. And Factory is on the way out from INnoVation. So pretty typical Reaper into the Marine, just being a little bit safe. It doesn't really need the Marine when you go for the SCV Scout. You see it is Hatchery first, so it doesn't really need that Marine. But the Marine can still be a little bit useful here and there, can already start to try and deflect an Overlord on this right-hand side, and that means that pretty much if you want to get in here safely with the Overlord, you need to invest into the 75/75 pneumatized Carapace, which, well, I saw a lot of discussion about that this morning on Muslim's Twitter. Woke up, had a good little chuckle to the comments, loved it. I always love it when the Terran pros get involved on Twitter, because they have some feisty characters, you know, and I especially love Special, who's like debating the Overlord speed change in the thread on the Muslim's Twitter. And this guy's just like, well, you know, this and this. And Special's just like, no, you're wrong. And I'm just like, well, at that point, you kind of just have to accept you probably are wrong. If Special's just going to say, no, you're wrong, I feel like Special probably knows the game better than you guys. It's, I just love that he just gives up trying to, like, reinforce it all. He's just like, no, I'm done. You're not correct. So, yeah. A lot of discussion about that upgrade maybe being a bit too cheap and being a bit too good. I mean, it is always interesting because every time Overlords do get that little buff, people invest in the Noob-Type Carapace like crazy. But then it always seems like it kind of fades away again. And it's kind of just that meta cycle, right? Whereas Terrans will stop doing builds that are really affected by an Overlord Scout. And because of that, Zergs will stop going Noob-Type Carapace because there's not much benefit to getting an Overlord Scout off, right? And you may as well put that 75 gas elsewhere. And that's where builds which kind of require an Overlord Scout get back into fashion, such as the battle cruisers. We're not seeing much of them at the moment because they keep being scouted by Overlords and the Zergs are too well prepared. And that's why we just see these faster bio plays, straight to Stimpack, etc. Because the Overlords can't scout as, because the Overlords can scout more easily now. And because of that, well, if you scout this, it's just like, oh, he's just playing completely normally. Like, I'm not going to do anything against that. But again, once the Overlords, for example, this game, Impact didn't go in towards an Overlord speed. But that's not a guarantee. Imagine, a couple of weeks from now when Zergs maybe haven't been going Overlord speed every game, that's when maybe INnoVation starts mixing up his builds towards those cheekier builds once again, towards the Battle Cruiser openers, maybe drop down an Armory, go for a bit of a Hellbat attack. It really is kind of just, I mean, that's why StarCraft to me is such a fascinating game. The way the meta develops without really, obviously in this scenario it develops off of a change, but it will continue to develop off of that change for a while, even without changing things again, as we are going to see this Liberator sieging up in the main. That's going to be a nice little couple of drone kills. Unfortunately, it is a dead Liberator. But a couple of drones not bad at all, as the Hellions still trying to poke at the front. Loses one of them, another one is in critical condition. 2 hit points. It will go back home for emergency repairs. Going all the way back up to that upper left-hand side, as the 3rd CC is coming to completion here pretty soon as well. +1 attack. Stimpack and all the rest continuing on down. This extra couple of barracks are going to be done here as well pretty shortly. As we do just have those Hellions and the Reaper just sitting out the front. Bane and Nest dropping down from our boy Impact in the bottom right-hand side. So just going to be seeing some Ling Bane up against pretty traditional bios. So getting into a nice regular TVZ here between, well, what could be kind of a better, kind of already our better match of the day. INnoVation, Impact, definitely some heavy hitters from both teams. Our second series today, actually forgotten it momentarily, our second series today is pretty good as well though. TSG taking on Chivo. Hero versus Sue is going to be our big match over in that series. With nice Ragnarok, definitely want to change things up at the start, so yeah. Could be some interesting matches today, guys. And as we kick this one off, we do see those Hellions just poking around and trying to see where they can go to. Up on the top side of Reaper patrolling the circling. Out in the center having a bit of a patrol as well. Factory dropping down and 2 more barracks in the main base. That's going to be 5 racks, 2 factories, and a starport all gathered together. Spire on the way up here in the main base. Again, that ready to roll as we do see this one circling running around the top side, and we are just going to be seeing that able to survive for the moment. INnoVation doesn't want to delay this 1-1 push. He kept most of his Hellions alive from earlier, which means that he does have a little bit of extra power with that. This one Reaper up here is going to find a few Zerglings jumping into a Drop Lord. It's one of the benefits of having Numites Carapace, which Impact did build up just a little bit later in the game here rather than right away. As INnoVation pushes down, he's going to find no 4th base in this location. And Impact is going to expand down in the bottom corner. So that's going to take INnoVation's really kind of interesting, because it absolutely is the better base for Zerg, right? Because it's very tough now to kind of push into that base as the Terran player. So it kind of forces the late game already, rather than allowing the Terran to push down into this base here. Now obviously a 5th base, maybe that does come up over here, but yeah, it's one of those expansion pattern differences. And it's interesting because a lot of Zergs do take their 4th over here because they don't want to mine out these minerals. It is quite far away, and obviously drop between the natural and the 4th is quite dangerous when they're that spread out. So Impact is just playing a bit differently, saying, yeah, you know what, I do want to slow the game down, I do want to make it tough for him, and if I go middleless especially, defending that further away 4th base is maybe not so much of an issue, as this is another stem, and that's just going to be more creep tumors being cleaned up. INnoVation doing a very good job to deny a lot of the map control here, and without Balin speed, you can just see that Impact has 0 interest in really taking the fight. Now Balin speed is about to kick in, and obviously Impact's been reinforcing this. INnoVation's reinforcements are just sat behind the wall off at home. this is where Impact actually needs to be very, very, very careful, because he could absolutely take a fight, but he doesn't want to go running into a position just because Balin speed finished up. He's also got no creep spread out in the center, right? So engaging this is tough, and INnoVation is in a very good spot to defend it too. His Mutas are going to make their first attempt up the left-hand side, but missile turrets en masse are on the way in. Marine defense is good as well. And the Widow Mine drop over here, begin to burrow. Balins will blow up the first three, and the fourth one goes down as well. Great defense from Impact, and no damage done by INnoVation here from that Widow Mine drop. So Mutas continuing over those couple of tanks are, well, they're here. INnoVation is going to start targeting firing down the Banelings, which is absolutely the tank's role in this scenario. But this is why tanks are not exactly brilliant, because they are in this sort of position as Banelings glove. Those Widow Mines, they're very immobile, they can't respond, they can't fight back against the Mutalisks, unlike Widow Mines, and that's why Widow Mines will become the more popular choice going on, and it gives you the chance to go in towards those Widow Mine drops, which we just saw INnoVation doing a little bit of as well. Again, so far, kind of a fan of this from INnoVation, and kind of happy to see it going the way it is. 22 more Lings, 13 more Banelings on the way out. Hatchery coming up over on that right-hand side. Ooh, nice shot on the Widow Mines there, and another one will get set off. So, one Mutalisk goes down. Not bad though still, right? 2 Widow Mines for 1 Mutalisk. Still a pretty good trade from the Terran's point of view. While 1 Mutant maybe doesn't make a difference to the Flock, if you just look at the resources, it's still pretty okay, as we are going to be seeing INnoVation bio units pressing forwards into the center. He has the Thor 2 mixed in here now as well to add to his army. And Impact's going to have that typical problem with Lingbane Muta, where it's going to be very tough for him to get out of the Light Attack. With Lingbane Muta, you don't have as strong of a standing army, so unless you get into a big advantage, it's very difficult to justify going into the Infestation Pit, the Hive, and then Ultras. So you have to be a little bit careful about that, as this is going to be an interesting fight for INnoVation, because he actually didn't have the Widow Mines connecting initially. They went down before they fired. Meanwhile, the Mutas have gone up to the third base where the missile turret has gone down. Marines are steaming over, and they will deflect this. Widow Mine now cleaning up another couple of units there running forwards there. Mutas are still being a concern. Nice network on the way up, so yes, you know, Impact can't afford the upgrades, but he is running around the place and making life difficult as Double Thor comes in. And those Mutas, I mean, yeah, they're not massively clumped, but the medevac saves are pretty good. Okay, didn't actually save that one there, but he still actually gets quite a few of those Mutalisks, you know. As they go back out to the third base, that's a great Widow Mine because the units were already so low. Valen's actually going to find Marines over here. Zerglings in the main base as well. Impact. And Impact, a couple of weeks ago, looked so bad in the ZVT against, was it Coffee I played against? It was a scrappy, horrible game from him, honestly, to say the least. And right now, he is kind of the one running circles around INnoVation. Using this Mutalisk play, the Lings as well, to great effect, as we are going to be seeing, I mean, Nidus here denied in the main base. Now we'll try and pop up in the main again, as he cleans out the one on the third. INnoVation holding on. I mean, as long as INnoVation defends and gets 3-3 against the Lingbane Muta, there is still a chance. It's just, obviously, at the moment, it's not been too pretty. Fourth base is up and running from INnoVation 2, so he gets the third back up and running. The Mutas are still trying to be a bit of a problem. It's this Lingbane force that's just ready to run into that fourth, and obviously INnoVation is so focused on defending up at the third base, etc. And here we go, talking about that Lingbane force. Widow Mines need to burrow like 5 seconds ago, not right now. There's going to be Widow Mine shots everywhere, and well, it's kind of hard to see what's going on. It feels like there's a bit too much Zerg, though. There is more Marines coming out. Widow Mine still going off. Banelings picked off by the Phantom Forest. There should be a defense, actually. I mean, this Thor is going to be saved. A few more Marines. Another Thor. There's just a lot of units in production from INnoVation that aren't really getting the chance to play. But as the Widow Mine goes off, the Mutalisk count will start to fall, especially with Marines popping out and Thor still fighting. And with 3-3 upgrades, INnoVation will have the efficiency here to turn away reinforcements that are just streaming in a few Zerglings at a time. And that will be INnoVation's way to hold off at the moment. However, Impact has hit Hive Tech, and Adrenal Glands +3 melee and soon +3 Carapace is on the way. Would not be at all surprised to see the Ultras Cavern as well, as INnoVation holds on and defends, but is still in a bit of a mess because, well, his opponent is up on 6 bases. This is great though, picking off the Mutalisk, because now all of a sudden you talk about the unit composition. There's actually only 81 Zerglings and 12 Mutas on the map. I mean, 11 Balins started morph in, but actually, Impact just invested into a bunch of upgrades, so his gas count is pretty low here. And this is a hell of an opportunity for INnoVation to go running forwards. Widow Mine reaches to grab that Queen. Gets quite a lot of creep out in the center once again, so really denying a lot of the vision here from Impact. There's not that many Banelings in this army. If the Widow Mines can connect somewhat decently, again though, INnoVation is so late to burrow those Widow Mines, but it's going to pay off. They get to fire still, and they get some okay shots off. Again, just missing the bio units to really defend. Oh, the third base is in some real trouble here. SCVs are going to try to reach it for the repair, but they don't get it. God, there's so few Mutalisks left, and yet they are still finding amazing damage here, killing the third base. Well, INnoVation just lost a big chunk of his economy. That was quite important. Widow Mines this time burrowing up again. Is it going to be enough? Good little splits away from Impact to try and hold on. Thor coming out. Marines are still kind of holding tight. There's a lot of medevacs, so a lot of healing available. And again, the Mutalisk count is taking a beating at the moment as we're going to see more Marines and Marauders continuing to stream on in. He's once again going to turn this around, and Impact is still making Mutalisks. He's still staying on Lingbane Muta. Finally, an Ultra Cavern on the way. Ultra Cavern is Impact's road to success here, because once he gets an Ultra Cavern up and Ultras on the map, INnoVation is not set up to deal with Ultras. Yes, he's got a few Marauders, but nowhere near that many. And he's also at the point where he's just not able to truly afford Liberators and, you know, Ghosts, which you would kind of want to start going into once Ultras start hitting the field. I mean, Liberators initially, and then when Corruptors come out, you want them to start transitioning to Ghosts. That's not able to happen at all here for INnoVation, who's long distance mining a 5th base. That's the sort of scenario INnoVation is in right now, as Widow Mines actually unburrow and reburrow against those Zerglings. That's a good connection, hits a bunch of Banelings on the bottom side here. There's one Baneling that's trying to reach these Marines, a split from INnoVation, but he clumps back up. Reinforcements still coming forwards. Here's the Lings go forwards too. There's still no 3-3 for the Zerg player, but maybe just has enough anyways. There's so many medevacs, there's not enough fighting units. INnoVation is back to the Planetary Fortress to try and hold on. We see Lings, Mutas being turned away. This is the main base relocated, by the way, so there's no static defense on that 5th location, which INnoVation is going to have to hold on to, but you can bet that that's going to be a primary target for Impact. You can already see him running around the left. Even if he takes a fight here, you know, it's not a planetary fortress, so that's amazing, as we see Marines are stepping over to try and defend this base, and they will do so pretty quickly and effectively. Now, INnoVation's also got to be careful, though. Again, you cannot lose this space. You cannot really lose these SCVs, Lings and Banes from either side. It just feels like INnoVation is just on the ropes for a little bit too long, all said and done. His army supply is still kind of there. Impact is still taking some bad fights, especially when these Mutas keep going down. I mean, those Mutas right now in orange and red colors, not looking pretty at all, as you do see the SCV is going to fight back for Nidus. Is just a bit too much, and as Banes roll into this planetary fortress, this is a huge defensive point of INnoVation that's going to get taken down. These Banelings continuing to wander in, and this truly is just about going to be a planetary fortress falls. We're going to be seeing the chitinous plate just a few seconds away from finishing, and we are just going to be seeing, I mean, one last push from INnoVation, essentially. With Ultras on the way out, though, these Ultras are going to be just in time to defend this kind of one last push, and obviously that's pretty great. As you can see, the Widow Mine is going to fire. Hits a good chunk of Zerglings. There's a couple of Banelings in here. Does get the target fire off on a couple of those, and will turn the Zerglings away. Army supplies. Well, the problem is the army supplies are kind of even, but that really changes when the Ultras come into play. The Ultras will do so well here. It's not just Lings in there anymore, and it's INnoVation season Ultras. He knows how up, and we're going into games 3 and 4 now. In the bottom right hand side, representing Team LP, the blue Protoss player is Yeshi, taking on the red Terran. In the top left hand side, give it up for Bunny. Game 3 of this best of 7 as we kick this off, get this rolling, and look to see what's gonna happen in the next few moments here. SCV from Bunny heading down to the bottom right hand side. So SCV coming along and looking to see what's going to be happening. We see a pylon set up here, Cybercore building as well, just to block this off. Again, sorry we're a minute or so late into this, guys. I have to run ads, otherwise I don't make enough money, and all of that good stuff. It goes towards supporting the stream, etc. These guys, they really do like to jump into games ASAP, and that's why after games, I try and throw to break straight away to minimize the downtime in games. If they get going super quickly, I will run a shorter ad break, etc. But if we come into the game just a minute or so in and nothing's happening, then we'll just let the ads play out. So just a little bit of info if you guys are wondering, oh, what's going on, why we joined in a minute late. That's all it is hey, that's a nice find on this SCV. That might have been looking to proxy a starport, actually, and obviously at that point, once it's found, I guess we'll never know, right? Because now you build the starport at home, but there's a really good chance that was looking to build a starport and get a medevac to drop into the main pretty quickly, maybe in towards a Liberator or a Banshee afterwards as well. You do see this Reaper will continue down to the bottom side, so it's a nice find because usually, again, like I say, usually the SCV would run home because what's it going to do when the Reaper shows up? Well, not really a lot. As you see, the Reaper does get into the main despite the wall off here, so just runs straight through there. Drops a grenade, is going to go for a probe kill, knowing he can probably still run from this Adept to be able to scout the rest of the main base. And there, Bunny does get confirmation that this is an Oracle opening. His 2 Hellions will fight against the Adept, will kite back a little bit, obviously can stay out of range of the Adept if they micro correctly. The Adept doesn't get the final shot on an SCV either. Good defense here, as we will see the Viking on the way up. A couple more Marines and Bunny setting up. I mean, well, there's the factory building a Cyclone as well. Cancelled the Marines for the Cyclone, knowing that that's going to be a better setup against this Stargate, and it really is just going to give him pretty much the hard counter to a Stargate, really. Having the Cyclone, the Viking, a lot of anti-air. The Phoenix on the way out now from Yeshi, so we will see him starting to build up a few extra Phoenix here, and looks as though he will probably look to kind of have that. A, the Phoenix are very good at shutting down the Vikings and the Cyclones, and B, it's just very typically a good little setup to have. 3 to 5 Phoenix can do great at shutting down drops, etc. We'll see if he goes into those extra Phoenix. I mean, he's built one and hasn't gone straight into the next with a Robo Facility down. Yeah, he is going to build a couple more. It is just so good, and obviously if you go into Colossus eventually as well, it can also end up pretty good as these couple Hellions. Sorry, find a couple of probes, missed that. But it was obviously pretty good. You go into Colossus, and of course at that stage you've got the Phoenix to help kind of protect and to kind of, you know, just change some fights as well. Phoenix Colossus itself was a composition for quite some time. And, well, I wouldn't say this is going to be like Phoenix Colossus. You kind of go Mass Phoenix for that. The Phoenix support here can just be very nice, and it's a way to be on the map, while as going Colossus, you kind of want to stay in your base, because the Colossus are going to be very low in numbers, and there's not going to be a lot of support for them initially, so you have to stay defensive. The Phoenix really gives you a way to be on the map and be aggressive, where you don't have the blink, where you don't have, for example, a Warp Prism, because you don't really have the time on the Robo Facility to build a Warp Prism right away before Colossus. So it's a lot of different things that add up in your favor, and it just means that this playstyle works very well in terms of that big kind of 1-2, as we do see the Oracle sitting out over the right-hand side, 2 Vikings from Bunny. Again, this was obviously a very safe anti-Stargate opener. But when we say anti-Stargate, it's mostly just to deflect the Oracle, right? Make sure the Oracle's not going to get too much damage done. If there's 2 or 3 Oracles, you want to make sure you have this defense set up as well, because 3 Oracles and a bunch of Adepts coming forward is obviously a big threat for the Terran players too. So by having these units set up, you can very quickly shut down those Oracles, and then the Adepts go down pretty quickly afterwards, without it getting out of hand. So we are just going to see this one Marine of Bunny wandering around out the front, and as out, a couple of Adepts coming forward here. That Marine going to get shot down here pretty much right away. Now still seeing the extended thermal lance +1 attack being built up for the moment as the Oracle from Yeshi going to start heading up to the top left again. It's been pretty good at just dropping revelations and keeping track of where units are so far. Now he's got an observer at the front. He actually already has pretty good vision in the main, as he is going to come in with the Phoenix, and this thing will... Ooh, actually loses a Phoenix there. Try to pull it back, but it was just that moment too late. Maybe if he lifted up the Cyclone and got rid of that lock-on, even if you just lifted up and cancel it so you still have the anti-air damage, then you could of course just stop the damage output on that Phoenix a little bit, and maybe that would have been the difference there. So that's a Phoenix going down. Bunny will be happy with that. Resources loss is a little bit favorable for Yeshi, but it's only a couple of hundred. I would say a couple hundred isn't really too substantial, getting towards the 1,000 mark difference, and that's why you're really like, oh, this has not gone so well. The Phoenix is going to find... I mean, this is a very risky drop. I mean, this is just doomed from the start. Bunny is just going to lose this. Bunny is a... I mean, you don't really want to scan at 7 minutes to see if your drop can get into the main. But in general, Bunny has a tendency to be one of the Terran players that will just kind of more YOLO drop. He won't actually scan ahead of where he's dropping. And that tendency sometimes punishes him. And like I say, well, you wouldn't usually scan ahead for 1 medevac here. You would expect him to maybe be a bit more careful, you know, maybe fly forwards, he sees the Phoenix and, okay, back away. Because if you boost away, you can probably get the Marines out at least, and even if the Phoenix chase, you'll probably get a Phoenix kill or so. But here, I mean, he just got absolutely nothing done, and there's no hope of him getting anything done. And with that medevac loss, you can see that Yeshi's like, well, maybe I can do something right now. I've got a good amount of Phoenix, your Viking count won't be super high just yet. Maybe I can make something happen with these couple Colossus. Obviously, the Phoenix can do some lifting as well if they find an opportunity, finds a Marine for the moment. Marines couple of Marauders stimming forwards here. Phoenix taking quite a bit of damage. The rest of this army backing away down to the bottom right-hand side. The rest of this bio from Bunny coming up the left, going in towards the natural expansion. As can be seen, the Siege Tank bio Vikings starting to push out in towards the center here, and 2 more Vikings and the Liberator on the production tab. As we have a few more Zealots just warping in over on the right. A couple of, a shield battery, a cannon being added in here as well. Disruptive production, chrono boosting away. Still have those Phoenix and the Colossus. Let's see what's going on. Vikings going to fire. Oracle taking quite a bit of damage. Extra Stalkers warping in up on that third base. Again, Vikings looking to take the charge here. Phoenix going to lead it. Going into this. Viking going to get picked off, and Oracle gets taken down as well. Stalker's leading forwards here. We are going to see that Siege Tank fires. Hits the Stalker quite nicely. Medivacs load up. And they're going to set up to boost forward somewhere. That's a nice volley from the Vikings, though, and very nearly getting a Colossus. You can see the slow kind of push from Bunny being established here. And he's still just adding Vikings in with +1 attack. Okay, he is going to start +1 armor, so he's not completely all in. Oh, not again! Like I said, he doesn't like the scan ahead, and very nearly is heavily punished for that here. Tell you what, the choice of this base up to the top side is working really well right now from Yeshi, because it's actually given Bunny a bit of a difficulty as to where he should be pushing. I think he wanted to push, with these rocks in the inhibitor zone to help him hit this base, but by expanding up the right, it's a much more open area, and I don't think Bunny wants to fight into that, and that's why he's been so slow and a little bit, what seems indecisive is actually just, well, what is the best case scenario for me here? I mean, this is Yeshi. He is going to commit to a fight. Here we go. Not really any splash damage in this army from the Terran player. No Widow Mines or anything. The Siege Tank count was only 1, so really not much at all. As we're going to see the Phoenix will take down the Vikings. 1 Colossus surviving. 2 Medivacs will load to the main base, but this is Yeshi completely cleaning Bunny up. And Kaisi Gaming are having a bit of a nightmare right now. Worst case scenario, INnoVation loses the first 2 maps. Well, at least maybe can hope that Misaki takes a map of patience, but if Bunny loses a map to Yeshi, they are going to need a miracle going into the next 3 games to really even take this to an ace match. I mean, Kaisi Gaming are in a world of trouble as Bunny is down 30 army supply, and Team LP's Yeshi might be about to put his team onto match point, a very crucial match point, because they are 0-2 in the league, and for them, winning this series without going to an ace match means extra points and much higher chance of making the playoffs. So this is huge for Team LP, as we are going to be seeing Liberators set up, but obviously they can't be everywhere. We'll see them already on Sieging, looking to relocate. We have a Sensor Tower just came online, so, well, here we go. There's so many Phoenix, and because there's no Vikings, the Phoenix can kind of just commit to killing the Liberators. It's a little tough, a little scary with that missile turret there, and Yeshi is going to be cautious of it for a moment. Phoenix around the right side, going to be able to pick off a Liberator once again. Nicely done. Colossus from a distance, firing away. I think it's going to see those Stalkers hitting that factory as well, as we see Liberators continue to press forwards. Another Liberator coming in as well. Factory taking some more damage again. Liberators just continuing to siege up. Another Liberator out in the center, and we're going to see Phoenix again, trying to see what else can be done. A Viking picked off. Liberator still just sieging up and seeing what might happen in the next few moments. We do see the Bioons pressing forwards here. Going to be stimming in towards this Nexus, so quite a bit of damage being done. This Nexus is going to fall. I mean, great counterattack from Bunny. He has to do something. He's forced Yeshi to bring his army home. Well, I mean, he is going to lose the Medivacs, though. That's the power of the Phoenix. Drops are very committed. Once they are there, they are pretty much, going to die. So it's about how much you can get done before the drop gets picked off. And in this case, obviously, very successful. Picking off an entire Nexus. We're really in a position, I mean, this is tough. But you see drop heading over to this right side. Wants to deny the 4th base as well. I mean, really do have just a huge army here for the Protoss player. Maxed out Yeshi. The only problem is he's scared to attack in, because before now it's 3 bases with not very easy attack paths. Now it's a more open 4th base. This is more engageable. So just be careful of those missile turrets against this Phoenix. And even Colossus. Yeshi, I don't think should turn around against that drop. Like, I feel like you should just give up the 4th base. He's going to recall. I don't agree with this at all. I think right now you should just give up this base and just say, cool. Because what are you going to do? Like, you know, you're going to chase this drop away. What are you going to do next time he attacks that base? You're going to recall again? Okay, for the moment, he's actually going to, I guess, with the Phoenix, clean this up. So maybe this goes a little bit better for him than I thought. Now he's stuck in this position. As EMPs land on all the high tempo, he'll have to become Archons to get any use out of those. There is Storm in play, but now no high Templars to cast it. So let me see this army back around over the left-hand side. Liberator is still sieging. And we are going to be, well, seeing Yeshi back in position over here once again. Liberator count is good. The ghosts are there as well. Does Bunny have enough to find a fight? That's the question. He's got no medevacs because he's been losing them all in these drops. And because he's been so heavy on the Liberator production. I mean, now Yeshi tries to come in this way. Good EMP once again. Stalkers will blink for very nearly a Liberator kill. Gets rid of 2 of the missile turrets so far. 1 left. So we see him still, Protoss army setting up. A disruptor shot firing in. It's going to be heading up to the top side. Bio with a little stem, not really much done at all, and still just a few extra Liberators on the way out at the moment, and it's really Yeshi being held at a bit of a stalemate. He's afraid to attack in, and you can kind of understand why, but I think the reality is he should be a little bit braver because he absolutely had the advantage right now. And as time passes by, it lets Bunny max out, and that gives Bunny way more chance in a fight. And Yeshi is going up to 5 bases, so in that regard, he is starting to look pretty good. The Liberator gets killed as it tries to siege up here. More Bio trying to stem forwards through that inhibitor zone, but that won't work. And now, okay, Yeshi feels as though he's been able to pull this army apart enough, and he goes in, but then the Liberator is siege, and he's scared off again. He is absolutely terrified of fighting. I've not seen a Protoss player this afraid of taking a fight in a very long time, and it could cost him this game if he's not careful, because these fights, slowly but surely, I know Bunny's had a terrible game so far, but slowly but surely, Bunny is the one making a couple pickups here and there. I mean, those Liberators were a bit too far forwards. Okay, this is a nice jump in from Yeshi. He finds these Liberators completely undefended. He did start a chase through the inhibitor zone on the top side as well. And as we do have the Cross still pressing forwards, a few more SCVs going down, some Zealots making it to the mineral line. Maybe that's what he was missing here, just this little bit of multi-prong, and I tell you what, this Bio army has been stimmed so many times, it is on such low health, and as Colossus and Storms connect, it's going to be too much. Okay, in the end, yeah, just being gifted, so that is why the sub goal is 500. So, it's just once those gifted subs expire. It's kind of crazy, because actually that's kind of, I really thought our sub count was kind of above 400. But yeah, our goal is to just stay above 500 subs. If we stay above 500 subs, we're pretty happy. We had a big push to unlock some extra sub emotes and stuff. We're dropping away from that now. So yeah, we're all good. We just want to stay above 500. That allows us to keep casting pretty comfortably. And you know, while a higher sub count is nice for now, let's just focus on being consistent at 500, because that is something we have not been able to do so far. But we're getting there. It is improving. Progress. Which is awesome. Thank you so much, guys, if you have been supporting lately. And a quick shout out to a gifted, not a gifted sub, to a resubscriber during that last game. Just a guy with a, has come in with a 3-month resub, saying the Bunny Hop. Thank you so much for the 3 months, as Yeshi is up 3-0 in the top left side of this map. And in the bottom right, our Blue Terran Bunny. Hikaisi Gaming are in some trouble. Just a quick reminder, guys, if you are enjoying the stream and want to support, replay packs for this event and our other events are available. New replay pack will have replays from INnoVation, Gumiho, Rogue, Solar, Classic, and others. If you want to check that out, become a subscriber today. It's half price, $2.50, and you can get all of these replays, all of our other replays, as well as getting access to the sub modes and supporting the stream. A percentage of each sub goes towards StarCraft 2 tournaments, so you're not only funding me in streaming, you're also funding more StarCraft events in the future. Which, of course, is very, very awesome to have. So do consider subscribing if you don't already, or if you got that Twitch Prime sitting around, you can use that. Or if you're already a sub via Twitch Prime or via a gift, you can extend those for half price as well for an extra month. So check out all of that, guys. A little bit of sellout here as we watch the early couple minutes of this TVP continuing. I really feel like that last game fell apart a little bit for Bunny as well, because it felt like he was really determined to push down towards the third base that was in that kind of triangular position like he had his own third base. And when he saw the third base was actually built upwards in the more open location, he was like, oh, my army isn't really designed to fight in that sort of position. And that made it very awkward because he couldn't like slow push in with tanks and libs like I think he was planning. And then he was like, oh crap. And then obviously the fight came in and he was just kind of doomed. So maybe at that point Bunny should have backed away, tried to drop around a little bit and reassessed his game plan. But yeah, I feel like that was one of the moments as well where it was like Yaeshi kind of got the better end of the trade without that even really being a trade in play. As we are going to be seeing Reaper and 2 Hellions moving out onto the map from Bunny. Blink on the way up on the Twilight Council as we do see the Gateway Shield Battery at the front. This is very safe from Yaeshi here. He saw the Hellions, so he is just making sure he's going to have a response to those Hellions. Just going to get that next stage of the wall off. Ooh, misses the force field. Problem is, with only one Adept out, that's the real damage deal here. So this is going to be some real damage done by these Hellions as they sneak into the main. I mean, it's going to be 1-2 probes already. Adept will shade forwards. The problem is, again, the Adept alone just doesn't do enough to clean this up fast enough. I mean, finally this will start to go down, but that's 5 workers. If he gets one more shot, he doesn't. But still, 5 workers. It's not a bad startup at all. Blink about halfway down. Robo facility coming up here as well from Yaeshi. One map away from taking LP to their first win this season, and if they win, what a win that would be. What a time as well, halfway through the group stage to finally get a win on the board. It fills them with hope for the playoffs still. It gives them some chances. It does give them some chances. And as we do see, the Blink is going to be finishing up in a few moments' time. So a bit of a different opening this time from Yaeshi. The Blink will be his way of being out on the map like the Phoenix were in the last game. So we'll get a little bit active with that as we do just see Bunny single engineering bay. His extra barracks now on the way up. And in terms of the starport, non-existent this time around, so bypassing that as he goes into Cyclone and tank early. He has a very fast 3rd CC, so he's playing a very different style. And that's why the starport isn't up here. He's just sort of, again, bypassed that early on. Just going to focus on the tanks defensively in the bio units. We'll see a pretty fast Robo Bay once again from Yaeshi. So probably once again just... I mean, Blink is the other way. You very easily and safely get up towards Colossus, right? Because those Blink Stalkers do a fantastic job of defending the Colossus. You know, when you have Blink Stalkers up, you can jump in on Vikings and so on, and that's pretty much what's going to kill Colossus off. So, just seeing Yaeshi using a couple of different methods of getting up towards pretty much a similar idea of a mid-game. But at the same time, it's going to be quite different when it comes to the composition, because there's not going to be a bunch of Phoenix this time around. And that does mean the Vikings are a bit more effective as long as you can position them well to keep them away from Stalkers. So there's going to be quite a compositional difference out of Yaeshi here now. As far as Bunny's concerned, I feel like he's just going to set up into whatever he can at the moment. Just a bunch of barracks and go towards this bio. Stim's already well on the way, so combat shields will join and could be looking towards something of a time in here. He stopped building the starport. I swear the starport was starting to build at the same time as this reactor, so I feel like Bunny maybe made a bit of a mistake there, and that starport should already be done in building medevacs. He has the gas for it, so feels like that's been a slight error. I think he just stopped his starport building for a few months, which obviously definitely is not intentional. Starport lifts up, moves over to the side, going to land down, and on that reactor, a couple of medevacs will indeed start up. But yeah, it feels very late compared to maybe what he would have wanted. You can see this army is, okay, for now just to defend the 3rd, but might have wanted to push across the map and just maybe scare Yaeshi a little bit, get a feeler as to perhaps what is going on, because at the moment Bunny is pretty blind. Saw the blink early, but that's about all. As now the 3rd Nexus is up and running, his own 3rd CC obviously in a good time in there. Comes forwards to take this watchtower and will just again vie for map control. While the observers will do a pretty good job of telling Yaeshi what's up and running. This time around, he does invest in the Warp Prism. It's something we didn't see last time because he was building a lot of Phoenix. He is quite eager to get a good Colossus count out. So the Warp Prism coming up, a bit of a change this time from Yaeshi, looking to dive by and hit the main base with some Zealots. Especially as charge is about to complete, that's when those Zealots obviously become very powerful. The Cyclone here will not kill the Warp Prism before it gets the drop-off, so Cyclone will not be enough defensively. It may deter the Warp Prism a little bit though, and if you get enough damage, you can scare it away from sitting around to warp in extra units, so it can still do a good job here, even if it's not going to be the be-all and end-all of the Warp Prism attack. Bunny loads up his siege tanks to bring them across. He's got 2 full medevacs on the left side as well. This map has good positions up here for tanks to kind of siege up and to cover an area you can kite back into. Or up here as well, kind of works as well, covers this area down here. Bunny is going to scan as he drops into the back of the main base. Stalkers were a little bit out of position to deal with that. As we see the shield battery is going to be done in time to help the Stalkers out, but, well, there's going to be quite a few Stalkers going down as the push continues up the right. The Warp Prism still yet to make a move. Siege Tank's already setting up over here and getting some shots off. I mean, only really sentries and a couple of Colossus to defend. Widowmine's coming in as well. He's going to start recalling onto this base. Oh my god, he only recalled 2 Zealots. Oh my god, what a mistake here by Yeshi, recalling nothing at all. And, well, he's going to lose the 3rd base. He's going to have to dive into this now. The 3rd base just about stays alive. Pulling back at the moment, the bio units will look to re-engage. A sentry and a couple more Zealots dropping down. Stalkers taking some hits as well. And the main base, the Zealots will start to go off here as we will see Yeshi defending. Cannot believe Bunny let this base survive on what, like 50 health? Before the shields start to come back onto it? Well then, that's obviously pretty crazy. We do see the medevacs here. We'll see the Prism leaving. Last couple of Zealots going down, and Yeshi is immediately on the counter-attack. He's warping in High Templars to become Archons, looking for the push power up this ramp. 2 Colossus still alive, no Vikings in play. Can't believe Bunny doesn't have that 3rd base killed on the other side. That would be so amazing for him. Liberators will cover this area and they will be good to defend. And actually, he might be able to keep pressing forwards. The Archons, though, will maybe make him think twice about that as Colossus will fire on towards the supply depots. Out of range of the Liberators. Libs might want to go a bit further forwards here. They would still be safe up this ramp if they went further forwards just to block this off, but maybe afraid of unsieging and this army jumping on top of him. Upgrade lead for Bunny as well, by the way, has the armor upgrade that Yeshi doesn't. Supply depot about to drop down as units still warping in. 2 more gates, an extra Colossus being built. A Cyclone out into the center. Reinforcements still pushing across here from Bunny, who is now supply blocked and hasn't really been making much effort to get into this. Okay, the Archons are going to press forwards here. Multiple Liberators. I mean, it was as the next couple came up, but those Archons get destroyed. Now the question is there enough to defend the Colossus? You know, is there enough in the front lines? That's going to be a dead Zealot right there. Another Widowmine does go off. Cyclone came across, is locked on towards this Nexus. It's going to make the play. It's going to get the kill. And that Nexus will go down. So Bunny finally gets the 3rd base as Yeshi is already trying to take a 4th in the top right-hand corner. Cyclone gets cornered and killed by probes. But that does cut off some of the mining here for a little bit. So great use of the Cyclone. So you don't really need, otherwise it's not going to do a lot in the army. So getting the base with that is really effective here as we do see Storm starting. But I wonder if Yeshi is going to be in trouble because as Bunny pushes now, Yeshi's going to be on just 2 bases of mining for the last minute or so. And he's already behind on upgrades, and that's only getting worse. The +2 attack is way further along for Bunny than the armor upgrade is of Yeshi. And even with Chrono Boost, that's going to be tough to find. Now, Storm is coming in here, but again, what is Storm if you don't have enough other units to kind of support this as well? Probes pulling across to the top right-hand side. This Nexus is going to be mined from in the next couple moments. Medevacs again looking to perhaps dart in towards the main base here. Thank you, by the way, Betamus Max for the 9-month resub. Appreciate it, dude. How you doing? Welcome back for 9 months as we do see those medevacs going to boost into the main. I feel like there's a bit of deja vu. This time the shield battery is finished. The cannon was just about to finish up. Zealots are warped in though, and that does go a long way. However, the attack upgrade against no armor, the Zealots fall a bit faster than you might think, and a lot of this is just forcing the warp in and the units in the main rather than actually dealing damage here. Sees these probes transferring up there. Bunny knows about this base, so the Liberators and Widowmines are going to set up to defend that position. Disruptor obviously is a good way to try and pick away at some of those units already. The cannon empowered that, a shield battery too, and now those probes on this 4th base are in trouble. Colossus Zealots, oh my god, this is going to be a massacre. The Widowmines blow up the entire Zealot line right from the start. The bio units now don't have a lot to fight against. The first Storm, I mean, it hits bio units, but not super effectively. It's still the Colossus that are the big issue here, as we will see Bunny just having to stim away. The Colossus are just that little bit too dangerous. The thing is, Bunny knows he is doing a good amount of damage. He knows he's putting himself into good positions. And he's able to look very, very good with that, as we see the Fusion Core about to finish up on the forward position. More bio units gathering together as well. Still just going to see Zard, Stalkers, and Colossus coming up the right side. Bio pressing forwards as well. Going to see the shield battery again picked off. Zealots like Templar gathering up too and trying to see what's going to happen next as we see a Liberator on the way out, a Medevac, +1 ship weapons, +2 armor, and +3 attack. All of this underway. It still feels like Bunny's got control of this game. He's just not quite at the point of having a counter to the Colossus, and once he has that, it's going to be much more difficult for the Protoss to hold him off, especially with the upgrade deficit the Protoss is finding themselves in. And just replacing a few extra Medevacs. He's been pretty Liberator heavy on production for the last little while. No Lib range though. If he wants to go without Vikings, Liberator range could be one way of doing that. Otherwise, Vikings pretty much will become a necessity at 4 Colossus. So let's see. Liberator heading into the top right-hand side. We'll find this space. Might just want to go along towards the third Nexus and try and stop some of the mining over there. Scouting Zealot gets blown on up. Nice Observer's been hanging around here all game long. It's just so difficult to spot those, isn't it? Especially when you're running around the map and doing all sorts of other things. I will never forget that game. It was Whirlwind. I mention this all the time, but Rain versus Tasia. Tasia killed something like 30 to 50 Observers in one game. I can't remember, but it was like a ridiculous number. And it just got to the point where it's like, how did Rain even have enough gas to keep rebuilding Observers? Tasia was just on fire that game. And that was like at the peak of Tasia's career. I feel like that was in like some kind of a DreamHack or so? I can't remember. Crazy stuff though. Marine gonna get picked off by this Photon Cannon, so gets that taken down. Zealots and a couple more Stalkers warping in here too. Hey, this little chunk of Mario is very fortunate to miss this Protoss army. Well, actually, he actually does see it. When the orders turn around and that poor Stalker somehow manages to die despite the whole Protoss army being here. This Bio army is still stemming up then. The Braves are trying to siege to turn this away. I mean, Ishi has Storms, Ishi has Colossus. The Disruptor is going to get taken down without firing though. More Storms dropping down, but he needs to try and keep dodging. The Liberators did a good amount here. Now the Storms, that's the last one. SCVs are being pulled. A Bioforce coming in from the top side, maybe looking to flank. I think Bunny just F28 there rather than continue to send units towards the natural to harass. The extra Liberators coming out as well. Hey, Yeshi's attack is doing a lot against these Colossus. There's not really a proper answer to them. And there's also no Ghost either. I mean, Shockwave's on the way now. Another F2 as this army comes back from the top side. Yeshi is still down on army supply, down in upgrades. But it's going to force a move away from this base. And well, that's advanced ballistics going down. So Liberator range denied. Now we do have still continuing. Colossus continuing to fight. We're going to see this refinery continue to take a lot of damage. Stalkers, Archons, Colossus continuing to press down the bottom. We are going to see Stalkers blinking forwards here. Liberator taking some damage. Orders still pressing forwards too. The +2 armor on the other side as well. Continue to press in at the moment. We still see these lasers firing away. A few more probes pulling up to the top side. SCV is being stalled quite heavily. Observer gets picked off there. Good scan. Again, these bio units picking up. I mean, it's just Bunny kind of bleeding out at the moment, having a bit of trouble. Liberator trying to siege up again. A couple more EMPs hitting Zealots, etc. Liberator still keeping this Archon at bay. +3 armor on the engineering bay as we do see the Medevacs continuing up to the top side here, going to start unloading. Bio continue to spread out, Zealots continue to press forwards here as well, and a lot of these Zealots getting cleaned up at the moment. That's going to be a recall. Can he jump for a Colossus? He does get a Colossus. The recall to the top side. He's going to lose him a Colossus as well. He'll lift up into the Medevac, will escape away, and Bunny is scrapping it out and kind of making it work, keeping Kaizi Gaming alive in this best of 7. They still need Misaki to perform amazingly against Patience after this, however, even if Bunny wins this game. But first, Bunny has to win this game, and that does not seem like a given just yet, although he is pushing up 3-3 against 2-2. Upgrades benefiting Bunny as they have been all game long. Again, a bit more bio stimming back towards the upper right-hand side. Still some Protoss pressing down a little bit as well. Bunny with a few units down on the bottom. stims in here. We are going to be seeing this Nexus picked off also. I mean, that's just, again, damage done to Yeishi's economy. That's kind of essential, though. Bunny has bottom left base mining. That's huge for him, having a new base up and running. As he stims forwards here, he's just pulling Yeishi all around the map. This is really, really becoming quite crazy at the moment as we see the army coming in from the right. A bit more bio stimming up here. Pylon will drop. Gateway unpowered, and again, just a few more units of Bunny running away to the side. Extra Zealots warping in. Medevacs will load up, and you just see Yeishi still pressing forwards here. The bio forces able to clean out some pylons. Again, 3 bases, and this third is pretty much mined out. So we're getting to the point where Yeishi literally has no mining left. Drop is seen with the Observer over here. Still good map awareness here from Yeishi as he warps in to defend. And that's a really good defense as well, because if that comes off and his army's in the center of the map, he is obviously in a lot of trouble. But the problem is he's been pinned into his 3 bases. And again, Bunny is the one mining much more comfortably now. Now he's got Ghosts coming out. Now he's got Vikings too. Bunny has finally been able to buy himself the time to get up to the proper army here, the Ghost Viking, to fight this composition. That's what he's been missing all of this time, honestly. More than anything else, as we're going to see the Medevacs are going to try and boost again. The Stalker shots are good for one of the Medevacs. My Templar will have feedbacks here. I mean, these Medevacs can't really do much. They can hide in the corner, perhaps. I mean, that's honestly a 20 supply. This would put Bunny down in supply if he was to lose those 2 Medevacs full of units. Bit of bio sitting in the center. Should see this army coming. Bunny does begin to pull it away. And again, if the Vikings count start to build up, he's just not there yet, though. There's only 2 Colossus. You don't need a lot. Just enough to survive long enough. Riders, Liberator, single one will siege up. The EMPs here are going to be critical, especially with the enhanced shockwaves. Oh, that's a great first EMP, but then the Storm does get off on the second High Templar. Are there any other Ghost EMPs available? Looks like he's used them all. There are a couple of high energy Templar here, which will try and stop this army pushing up the ramp. Has to back away a little bit here, Bunny. Zealots running forwards. The drops are going to drop on top of the Colossus, and that's going to be Bunny's way to clean this up as he takes the Colossus down. Easy gaming. As in the bottom right-hand side, sorry guys, these teams are terrible for using barcodes, and, well, Team LP have their names in Chinese, which obviously maybe is fair enough for, like, Chinese fans or their sponsors or so, but the frickin' barcodes, kind of crazy. Okay, well, in the bottom right-hand side, our red Protoss player who only needs to win one of these 2 maps is Patience to pick up Team LP's first win. In the top left, our blue Zerg player morphing in a lair very early is Misaki. That is the fastest possible lair. That is a 1.5-minute lair. What the frick is about to happen? Double gas. He's only just now expanding. I mean, the problem is Patience kind of sees it, right? Is this like 1 base swarm host? Oh my god, these couple of lings are going to go find the probe now, but seeing the lair already, I mean, Patience has to be like question mark face. I mean, at least I know it's a lair. I mean, for Patience, it just means you got to play this a little bit slow, a little bit careful. Ling speed coming up. Is it just a 1 base Nidus, like a super fast Nidus network with like lings only? It could be. You know, it could be just like a super fast, like the fastest possible Nidus ever. He wouldn't even have that many lings, but obviously he's just looking to take advantage of the fact that the Protoss player shouldn't have too many units either. There's the Nidus. A 2.5-minute Nidus. I mean, he gives up so much to be able to do this. You can see him pulling out of gas now, so he's quite obviously eager to just... He needs gas to put in the Nidus worm head, but he's obviously just going to go for speedlings with a Nidus into the main. I don't even know if you identify that as Patience. Like, that's really hard to scout. It's kind of like a Ling Flood where it's obviously a bit delayed, but you obviously completely bypass the wall off defensively. Second gateway and a third gateway too are huge choices here from Patience. I mean, this is really something really ridiculous. Oh my god, the Nidus is going to get scouted. This is the worst case scenario, this probe getting to see what's going on, because probes, Stalker and a Zealot, that might just be game. Letting this probe into the main. Patience was just so good to come across one of a scout here, and it is just going to be the Nidus dead in time. Now he's going to drop one in the natural, but losing time here for Misaki is really, really deadly. This one is going to go off, though, so problem is now Warp Gate's going to be done, and Patience can warp in a bunch more units. You can already see him being very careful here, pulling units back. Shield Battery about to finish. Things will begin to flood on in. Hey, he's actually going to pull up away a little bit towards the ramp here, but his force field is kind of late. Shield Battery doing a good amount of healing so far. That Stalker on the high ground is just going to survive. Shield Battery out of energy. It's the Zealot Warpins and the Adept as well that are going to obviously start doing pretty well here overall, as Misaki really needs the extra Zerglings to come out of this next the Nidus in the next few moments. He has got Nidus in the main, so a few Lings over here, picking off a Probe or two, going to go back down to the natural, where if he kills this Pylon, he will shut down 2 of the gates of production. Hey, that's actually kind of a big deal, and Patience does not get a Warp in off of them before that. Now going to try and decide whether he wants to come out here or whether he wants to go back into the main. Looks like we're going to see Misaki is committed to the natural. He does have a hatch over to the side, but I don't feel like he's just thrown out of this, right? I mean, okay, you might kill this Nexus. Hey, honestly, though, if he keeps building Zerglings, right? I mean, it feels like he can kind of fight this, because all of a sudden, he just needs a Nidus in the main, and that's going to be the problem, perhaps. Another Pylon coming in over here. Needs to make sure he targets that. Oh, no, he's going to get up the ramp! The sentries are going to get surrounded. Misaki will drop the force fields. I mean, great force fields to surround that. There's the Corona Boost on the Warp Gate as he tries to get anything he can here. I mean, Zealots surrounded by Zerglings doesn't exactly end well for you. I mean, this is a scenario where I don't even think Misaki was expecting to get. If he'd known this, I mean, extra Zerglings obviously would have absolutely been the answer. Pylon over here will allow for an extra warp in too, so I mean, obviously he gave up kind of being able to kill that previously to be able to jump into that. And this is a force fieldable Pylon as well to protect. Hey, this got really weird really quickly now. We see another Nidus in the main base, but there's still not really that many Zerglings, right? So it's not even that crazy still. He might be able to pop out here and go for a couple of probes, though. He's going to go for that Stalker, second shield battery. Hey, you can trap the Zealot maybe out of shield battery range. That's really nice, obviously. It's a really good kill, and he will go for a couple of probes now, but shield batteries are pretty good. Force field is not good enough. Misaki playing a very, very funky style, as Misaki is absolutely making this work at the moment. Rotoron on the way up. Has he done enough to kind of force Patience into a weird enough position where Roach Attack can follow up and kill? I mean, Patience building a robo facility at the moment, getting that set up to go. Hallucination heading up into the center of the map. A few sentries hanging out, going to start targeting down this Nidus network. Rotoron is about to pop. Hallucination up in towards the main base. You're going to be seeing the Overlord taking a little bit of damage there. Overlord taking some hits once more. Nidus network going to drop down into the main. Stalkers, sentries, continuing forwards. We are going to be able to take down this Nidus, so that is a good shutdown. So that's a very good shutdown at the moment. Warp Prism still Corona boosting out of this robo facility as well. Getting that up and running here as we see 2 more sentries on the warp in. That's Overlord down on the bottom side, taking a bit more damage as well, still taking some hits. We'll see us setting up. Still moving around, still seeing what else is happening. Roaches continuing out also. A lot of build up right now. There's a couple of Stalkers jumping up in towards the Prism, jumping back down. I mean, Patience is kind of just one base all in. Misaki supply blocked. He needs to build as many Roaches as possible. He's literally going to have Roaches against Stalker, Sentry. Morphs and Ravages. I like it. I kind of like it. I feel like his defense is very possible here. Wings, Roaches, Ravages. The problem is, where do you defend? That Colossus is fake. You'll know that as it fires and doesn't do anything. Those Sentries, man. The Corrosive Bars, the Corrosive Bars are such an important investment right now. These Overlords, though. Oh no, don't lose all the Overlords. You're going to get supply blocked. Oh, he's going to have to fight this because of that. A couple of Corrosive Bars are going to pop force fields, but obviously there's a lot more force fields to come where those ones came from. Hey, Corrosive Bars on the Warp Prism would be absolutely huge right now. And he's still Corrosive Biling the force fields down. I would have loved to see the Biles on the Warp Prism because, well, I mean, obviously if you get the kill, but maybe he wouldn't have got the kill. Too much damage output from Patience. The force fields are completely decided in this fight, and wow, okay. I honestly kind of liked it from Misaki. I liked his numbers, but obviously he has to fight off of creep away from his defenses, and the fact his third base is over that side is what's going to kill him here more than anything else. If he could just defend the natural 6 maps, gives the Chinese players a chance to show themselves and so on, so the maps are still played, even if the series is decided. So one more map, and then we have our second series of the day still to come as well, so that's still coming up in the near future too, as we have in the top left-hand side our blue Zerg player. This is Misaki, who, well, his craziness nearly paid off for him there in that first game. Just the biggest problem truly was he had to kind of defend between the third and the main, and if he just had the natural in the proper position, it would have been a very different scenario, I think. So that's actually probably what cost him the game in the end. As we do have to the top left, our blue Zerg player is Misaki. Up against the red Protoss bottom right, Patience. Probe wandering forwards. As we'll have a look to see what will happen here. Wandering past this watchtower already and heading up to the top side of the map. So looking to see what's going on is we do see hatch gas and pool opening this time around. So a bit more regular out of Misaki here. After his crazy cheese didn't work out in game 1. He's just going to play a bit more standard, at least for the startup. As we continue to set this up, we will be seeing this extractor going to pop, and he's going to be able to drop a couple of workers into the extractor. Nothing too crazy. Let's have a little look ahead to our next series, though. Obviously, this one's wrapped up, and a little bit of downtime as we get this started. Next series, Triumphant Song Gaming taking on Chivo SC. Chivo 1-1 in the group. Triumphant Song in first place, 2-0 at the moment. They have Nice versus Ragnarok, Solo versus Expect, and Hero versus Sue. And this is obviously, I mean, from the get-go, you would say that series kind of comes down to Hero versus Sue. If Ragnarok and Solo pick up their series and their gamers, but Nice is absolutely the player that can throw a curveball in there because he took down Gumiho for one of the maps last week, and one map there can change absolutely everything. So that next series could absolutely become pretty interesting here very quickly, as we do see 2 more queens on the way out. Well, just still producing here on the main and the natural, as we do see the couple lings chasing down a probe. And that's going to come across over the left-hand side. Third hatchery dropping down as well. In location. And a couple of Zerglings just heading up in towards the natural. And the Adepts continue to shade out onto the map, so moving up to the center of the map here at the moment and looking to see what's going on. Ling speed coming up here at the moment. Nubatized Carapace on the way out, and can continue to see what will happen. Phoenix on the way. Yeah, sorry guys, I know it's very annoying when these guys are playing barcode versus Chinese name. But yeah, the barcode player is Misaki, Chinese Zerg player. Patience is the red Protoss player from Korea. I know. I told the organizers, like, hey, is there any way you can get the players to play in their real accounts? I'm like, it doesn't matter to us. I was like, really? It doesn't? I can understand Team LP, you know, having Chinese names. It's something to do with their sponsors. They have specific accounts to play on for this league. But like when you've got your players showing up in barcodes, I'm like, come on, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me right now. Phoenix here will kill off this first Overlord despite the Overlord speed. So Misaki will be losing that, and the Phoenix will continue to hunt. There is the next Overlord. Actually, he's kind of en route to fly through the Watchtower, but the Watchtower is lost for the moment. It flies past. Wow. That Overlord should have been seen and should be kind of tagged by the Phoenix by now, but very fortunate all said and done, as we do see the 2 Adepts continuing up to the top side. Shading those up towards the main base will not be too successful just yet, as we do see the couple of queens and the lings continue to hold out here as well. Another queen coming up on the 3rd. They're on the way up in the main base. 10 more Zerglings on the way out. The facility dropping down in the natural expansion, as we do see the Adepts again shading out over the left-hand side with this Oracle, but we haven't really seen any successful aggression just yet from Patience. And the Adepts mostly just kind of looking around and not really finding any openings. Killed an Overlord with that Phoenix, killed a Ling early on. There's a bunch of Lings being made right now. 1 gas. We are going to be seeing a Nidus network here out of Misaki once again. He doesn't have the gas to tech up much further than a Nidus network. It should just be that Nidus and a bunch of Lings and Queens running into it, so this is obviously another way to be quite aggressive at this stage of the game. The problem is getting that vision is quite difficult, as these Lings will force some initial force fields. Where do you actually Nidus here? It's difficult to get the vision into the main base because you have the problem of the Phoenix has already been shutting down the Overlords. Now there is Overlord speed. Ooh, drop the Lords. Okay, so it's not quite a Nidus, but it is Ling Queen. It is Ling Queen. There is going to be a Nidus as well, but it's going to be a Ling drop initially, then use that to drop, then use that to pop the Nidus down. It's definitely a bit of a different way of getting this set up here on Triton. As away we go, the two Overlords down the right-hand side. Meanwhile, Adepts and Sentries are so far out of position, you couldn't even make it up if you wanted to. This Adept here is going to see, oh, that's a lot of Zerglings, and these units should be on the way back home instantly now. As Patience has a very aggressive Zerg player to deal with here in the next few moments. Zerglings still heading down to the bottom left. Couple Zealots will warp in, and the Zerglings getting a good surround to fight against that. Here we go. Nidus starts in the main base. The Lings will begin to drop in a moment. All of the units are out on the third base, although there is a lot of Zerglings here as well as those Lings drop off. And they can run to that mineral line, and this pylon here would be crucial. Shut down 4 gates of production. That would be absolutely crazy to be able to defend. The recall came in, the Lings came back on the third. Queen's starting to pop out here as well now, so Queen's supporting these Zerglings as they press forwards into the main base. Meanwhile, the Lings on the third base doing very well. Only the Oracle there to defend. That's pretty much all of those workers going down. Lings still streaming forwards here. Patience feels like he's in some trouble at the moment. Does start a few more war pins. Extra shield batteries on the way up to try and defend this position as well. Queens trying to fight what they can. The Immortals are continuing to drop before the shield batteries are done, and Patience will type GG. Oh man,